main theme of the HERDA-SW Conference today concerns collaboration through creativity. Our object in this conference really is to bring people together, to allow them to look at ways that they can work together in the future.
It's very interesting that the Regional Association has picked the theme of collaboration through creativity because I think it intersects with a whole series of different kind of priorities and different sorts of agendas. I think HERDA is actually unique in having this kind of a conference.
I thought Collaboration Through Creativity was a great title to choose for this year. Increasingly, creativity is right at the top of the international agenda. These collaborations only happen by real people meeting each other. They don't happen by people writing papers. They don't happen by people writing letters or emails. They actually happen by people actually getting together. So these are the sort of networks where knowledge is transferred, where knowledge is exchanged, where people make contacts and then things actually happen from there.
HERDA is really important for higher education because it brings together institutions. It allows us to collaborate much more effectively and to respond to national agendas.
It's quite important, I feel, that air traffic control becomes a part of the higher educational system, but also that higher education can see how we work in making the higher education role extend further into practical industrial applications. If we don't have events like this, it would be so easy for us to sort of carry on working in a vacuum and not really appreciate the huge amount of effort that's going into training the youngsters and the workforce of the future.
My own personal interest is in the field of international student recruitment, which is a big business for the country, big business for the region. We're talking about 12,000 students from overseas studying at universities within the Southwest, and that's an industry worth about 200 million. I think everybody understands that the international student recruitment market is important for any number of reasons in terms of helping broaden the base of the institutional populations that we have. The greater the number of international students that British students can come into contact with is all to the good. It's obviously an important income generator in respect of students that come from outside the European Union as well. But I think opportunities like these in wonderful surroundings are a good opportunity for members of staff from institutions to learn more about the hard facts behind the challenging environment within which we work. The Southwest region is always going to be very popular for students because it's climate, for one thing, but also the way in which we promote the beauty of the countryside, the safety of the countryside, and it's a very good contrast to living in life in the big city. So I think there's still a lot that we can do to promote the Southwest in terms of international students coming from overseas.
One of the strands in the conference this year is about collaboration in action, because obviously we're talking about things we'd like to do, but we also want to give examples of things that we're already doing successfully together. My presentation is on Knowledge Exploitation Southwest, which is a collaborative business relations knowledge transfer project which brings all of the institutions in the Southwest together into a collaborative program.
This is probably the 5th conference that we've been to, and it's now a sort of pretty much a permanent place in our diaries. I think that reflects the significance it's now got for us in terms of the opportunities it gives us to talk with people and share insights and translate national agenda into regional objectives. I think the notion of creativity and collaboration are very resonant ones for us, because as a specialist institution of art, design and media, we obviously have creativity at the heart of all our work, but I also think we believe that it's actually the heart of the HE endeavour, and so the notion of working creatively together with partners is one that we're very sort of committed to. So as a metaphor for working in the future, we think it's a very, very powerful idea. What HERDA does is offer an opportunity for the development of relationships about trust, so that when collaboration comes along, you've got the basic building blocks in place to work with colleagues.
I'm looking at the links between teaching and research and how we can get students and staff to collaborate so that we can actually maximise the benefits to the student experience of staff engaging in different types of research. I hope that what my presentation did was to stimulate, certainly stimulated some discussion amongst different perspectives from people from different higher education institutions. I think what HERDA does is provide a channel of communication between institutions and a good way of bringing together people from across the sector to share ideas, to focus on practice, to hear about new policy initiatives. And so I think this year's conference and the theme about collaboration and creativity is very timely.
I think universities will look very different in 5 or 10 years' time in terms of being Wi-Fi environments, in terms of laptops being the way in which students communicate with the university, and laptops being the way in which students access a lot of information.
To get the most from your investment into a piece of software, you have to start selling it to staff from the moment you start thinking about acquiring a piece of software, not after you've bought it and then are starting to implement it. I think it's important to come to conferences like this because it's an opportunity to meet and network with a lot of other people who either have the same experience as you or who have different experiences as you. Now, as people are always told, it's good to learn from your own mistakes, but I think it's much better to learn from other people's mistakes and avoid making them in the future.
The conference is so much about people, energy, creativity, and bringing everyone together in an environment where they're staying for a couple of days, they can get to know each other. There's lots of good presentational material, great keynote speakers, but also we have a lot of different workshops focusing on different subject areas, so there's something for everyone. This year's conference is the 7th HERDA conference that we've held here in Torquay, and it just gets better and better. And as I've been walking around today, I've had so much positive feedback from people who have come up and said, this is a terrific conference, it's the best yet. And that's really inspiring to hear.
What I've learned is both in the discussions I've had, but also thinking about my remarks when I did the keynote this morning, is I've got a better understanding of the priorities for the region, better understanding of the challenges that are facing the region.
Creativity is a fantastic title, and indeed you only achieve great creativity and great innovation through collaboration.
What I'd really like people to take away from this conference is something new about how they can work together, more creatively, more imaginatively. It's the one opportunity in the year when all of the higher education institutions in the Southwest can get together, relatively informally, network, but not only socialise with each other, but also listen to some of the really significant developments in policy which are occurring nationally.